Welcome back and thanks for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I do appreciate it. Now, last video I said I was going to introduce you to the next big build I'm going to do. So here we go. I found myself a 1968 Jeep M-715 or Kaiser M-715. What is that, you ask? Well, it's an Army truck. Basically, they called them 5/4 tons or 1 1/4 ton cargo carriers, troop carriers. That's what the M715 was. Now, they also made an M724, and the M724 was just a cabin chassis that they put a specialty bed on or a flatbed. They also made an M725, which had a full cargo top on it, and those were ambulances. They then also made an M726, which was, they called it a telephone service truck, which basically it was a service bed truck. So they made these trucks from 1967 through 1969, and they designed the truck in 1966, the later half, to replace the Dodge M37 truck. And then in 69, Jeep lost the contract and Dodge replaced Jeep again with their M880. So there was only a 3-year run of these trucks. They only made 33,000 of them, so there's not a lot of them out there. A lot of these trucks were in Vietnam. It was the only war these trucks served in. Kia Motors in Korea still makes a version of this truck. And I believe India makes a version of this truck as well, both of which are licensed by the US government to make. But the actual M715s were only made from 67 through 69, and not a lot of them. Most of these trucks that were sent overseas to Vietnam, when we pulled out of Vietnam, were destroyed, dumped in the ocean, gone forever. I'm sure there's a few over there stashed away somewhere that may still work. Humid as it is in that area, I'll bet a lot of them are pretty rusted by now. So the lack of rust was actually why I bought this particular M715. What I liked about the 715 is I thought they were a really cool looking cartoonish truck. The M715s came with a 6-cylinder overhead cam engine, which was called the Tornado. It was 230 cubic inch straight 6 overhead cam, or 3.8 liter for those who like the liter version. They had a huge 133 horsepower coming out of them. The transmission was a T98 4-speed, fully synchronized 4-speed transmission, truck style, top loader. It had a little tiny drive shaft about this long coming out of the back of it, which made it to a divorced NP200 transfer case, which is a 1.91 to 1 ratio. So, not a lot of high-speed stuff going on yet. It gets even better. The axles in these M715s, the front axle was a Dana 60, small tube, closed knuckle, drum brakes, 587 gears. The rear axle in these trucks was a Dana 70, small tube, coarse spline axles, drum brakes, but it did have a locker in it. The hubs on these had that big military 6-lug, so you can't find wheels for them. You can't find brakes for them. You can't find really any gears for these. You can't find any replacement axles, and the tubes were small. So these trucks, though they were rated 5/4 ton or 1 1/4 ton, I'd put every dollar to tell you that a modern 1-ton truck has more axle carrying capability than these trucks ever did. Top speed in these trucks, Jeep rated them at 55 miles an hour, and I'd say you better be going down a pretty steep hill to hit that. Everyone I've ever ridden in with a 6-cylinder still in it would go about 45 miles an hour. And at 45 miles an hour, everything's spinning so fast, the transfer cases would overheat and everything else. But the good part about not being able to go very fast is the brakes were so bad on these things that at least you could stop them because you weren't going fast enough to really need to worry about it. Let's see, a little more of the provenance in this particular truck. This particular truck was never used in the or was never used overseas in the military. It was issued to the military. The military then sold it to a fire department in Oregon. After the fire department got done with it, they used it as a brush truck, which was really common from what I understand. A lot of fire departments bought these to use them as brush trucks. But the military side of it, I just thought they were a cool truck. And like I said, they were kind of cartoonish. So they really had an appeal just based on looks to me. And like everything I do, I like resto mods. So when I happened to find this particular truck, it met a couple of my really requirement criteria. Number one, it wasn't so original that I would feel bad about cutting stuff up and replacing it with modern guts. The fire department that had this truck already swapped out the engine from that Tornado 6-cylinder to about a 1974 Chevy 350, carbureted, point ignition, you know, just an old small block. They did do the correct adapter for the transmission. However, whoever welded in these engine mounts really needs to go back to school on welding. I am surprised that the engine didn't fall out of it. Some of the worst welds I've ever seen. And I'm not a welder, so they're pretty bad. The other thing about this truck that made it more appealing to me is, as far as not being original, is the data plate had been cut out of the dash, which I actually was really happy to see that they just relocated the data plate to another location in the truck. Because it was a brush truck, they had all kinds of pumps and switches and lights and junk mounted to the dash. So that had already been cut up, so I didn't have to worry about messing up the dash. The bed in the truck had big holes cut in it and mounting plates and all kinds of stuff for pumps and water and things like that. So the truck has been abused enough that I didn't feel bad about what I was going to do with it. The next reason that this truck was appealing to me, it's virtually rust-free. It was either kept inside, it was kept dry, it was not in real humid climates, it was not exposed to salt roads. This truck has some rust on the hood, a few rusts on where paint's missing, but every place I looked at on this truck where there was rust, I could remove the rust with a Scotch-Brite pad. There's no frame rust. There's no rust in the footwells at all. The floors are in perfect condition. So rust-free truck is good for me. I hate dealing with rust. Here's the front of the truck. Now on that right front corner, it's been hit, so there's some bent metal there. And also, I don't think this is the original hood. It doesn't fit that well, and it looks like it's been on fire. Moving to the back of the truck, you can see where the tailgate off of it. It looks pretty straight. The tools are missing, but the bed itself, even though there's a lot of holes in it, it's really not rusted out, so that part's good. On the top of the bed, you can see those loops on the top of the right side are missing, and they're there on the left side. I don't know what that's all about, but that's the way it came. Again, the right side of the truck, the toolbox, the metal, it's nice and clean, not rusted. The left side of the truck, my favorite part, is that gas filler along with the tools. Again, under the hood, they converted it to a small block, and it's an early to mid-70s small block Chevy. It's also converted to a 12-volt electrical system, even though it has dual batteries, and the batteries were moved under the hood from inside. You can also see the cooling system in this has been altered. The radiator no longer sits up in the radiator support. It's been pushed back so that it at least has an attempt to cool. The interior, you can see the data plate's missing, but very little rust. I don't have to worry about keeping the dash integrity since it's been cut up already. And on a downside, I am going to have to get rid of the braid and winch because the PTO won't work with the combination I'm putting in this. Next time, we're going to start digging in a little deeper to some stuff and get back to building things. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Well, my video this time is in support of my buddy Rory with Trailmater at the Off-Road Wrecker Games in Sand Hollow. And we're loaded up, ready to go to Sand Hollow for the Wrecker Games. No, I will not be participating. Just cruising. After a little night's rest in the hotel, we got up, grabbed some breakfast, and got ready to head out to Sand Hollow in Herkin, Utah. We did run into some storms, and our truck was covered, as well as the wrecker was covered in mag chloride, which really was succola. So we did wash it off, and within 5 minutes of parking this little FC in the parking area, it was being photographed regularly. We even had our own shirts for the event. At the vendor show, where we first entered, they were still getting stuff set up, but a lot of action going on already in the wrecker areas. Later on that day, all these vendors were set up, and a lot of good stuff, a lot of good people out there for this event. Now, let's just get out to the event itself. First event for me to watch was the dyno test. But this is pretty cool out here. I'm pretty sure Matt did not win the dyno competition since his truck was so long he could not get it on the trailer far enough to get the rear tires on the rollers. I wouldn't really know if this is the world's biggest off-road record, but after being up close and personal with this thing, I bet it probably is. This thing's running 54-inch tires on it and a whole bunch of drivetrain. The next area of competition was the welding competition, which I really don't have any footage of the actual welding, but this particular wrecker, this old Chevy, is from Merlin's old school garage. I absolutely love the cab and body on this one. The next part of the event was the rollover and the dead pull. They were located next to each other, and I wanted to film both, so the rollover part of it is at further distance, and here you can see Rory and Trailmater setting the Isuzu Rodeo, or whatever this thing is, up on its nose. He didn't leave it that way, which is probably a good idea, but definitely a cool pull. I was closer to the Deadpool, which is what I wanted to be closer to. This is Merlin again from Old School Garage, pulling the lightweight part of the competition. Now he goes to the heavy part. Rory on his first pull, no problem, but he told me earlier that the dualies really don't work that well in the sand. The rears tend to just throw dirt, fight each other, and dig holes in the sand, so he's not really expecting to do that well in the sand pull. As always, though, Trailmater puts on a great show, and at least he was nice enough to pull the sled back and dig some nice trenches for the next guy. Next up is Fat Rats, and he has a pretty bunch of horsepower in his well-built 454. Watch the rope brake. When a rope snaps like that, there is a whole bunch of stored energy. You can see the mirror and the front headlight are gone in this truck. And there's no metal, that's just a rope. After re-rigging it, goes for the second pull. The horsepower Fab Rats is running. That was about it for day one on the competition. Now it's time for some lunch. There's about 10 really good food trucks in this area. I know. Really nice morning in Hurricane, Utah. Got up. Time to unload. This is the only four-wheeling this Jeep did this weekend, is getting off the trailer. It's a little wide to just drive off. Have to drive over the fence. The people running the shuttles with their six-door Jeeps invited us to park with their old wreckers for the show. Couldn't turn them down on that. That was a great opportunity to park close and be seen. I don't believe this is the one that runs. I believe it's the other one. Old school stuff though. So, the little wrecker was invited to sit with the other little wreckers, and let's see if we can get some subscribers out of this today. This one here came out to be one of my favorite haulers here. And the Army brought a real tow truck today.
All right, and I grew up here, so you know we'll stick together on this one.
Sounds good to me.
All right, man.
All of the people in the event were really nice. Talked to everyone else. Merlin talking to his competitor there. Fab Rats. These guys all really work together well. A lot of fun to watch.
So this is Fab Rat's truck. This is the one that actually sounds like it's got some horsepower. So I'm betting he does.
Rory's getting all the rigging hooked up on the truck he's towing through the event course today. I asked him why he didn't use a T-bar style sling like I have on my truck. He said they wouldn't work because the truck will climb over you. I believe him. Through the tunnel to get a ride up to the event course.
Thank you, sir.
We had a lot of fun with our driver. He wasn't afraid to go fast.
Way more fun when you tell the driver to drive fast, take chances. We're just hiking this little Jeep trail here so we get us a good vantage point.
People were playing, getting stuck, braking, and had to really get recovered. We are actually on the course, but it starts way down there where that line of people is. We did have an unfortunate incident at this event. We collapsed in a heart attack. Unfortunately, EMT and responders were very quick on the scene. Unfortunately, the man did not make it. He passed away. We'd like to take a moment to offer my prayers and condolences to his family. Once the tow trucks come up, this is one of the first hard obstacles they will hit, and it'll get harder further up. The lead Jeep has the speakers for the announcer and is kind of the trail guide, but Rory's the first wrecker. He loves getting out of the sand and into the rocks. This is where Rory is unbelievably good at what he does.
So we got a rollover in BSF, and we've got Merlin having a little struggle with traction. Have the vehicles that have done it, but are just amazing. More fans. That is insane. Roll fast, okay? Roll fast. Oh. So if you're way on Lindsay, we're gonna have to chat with Lindsay in a little bit because this is way too high in the sky.
Rory is climbing the second staircase right now and is pointing straight up in the sky again. I like his technique here again by letting the winch cable out all the way so he's not trying to pull the Isuzu right behind him and giving him some space so the trail meter can get him even ground and then the Isuzu runs his way in.
It's kind of cool when they get up on a place where they can't pull themselves and the towed vehicle up, they'll get themselves up and then they'll winch the towed vehicle back up where they need to be, and then they'll continue driving on. It's pretty cool techniques.
This place is absolutely gorgeous as well. But no one's going for the scenery, this place is so business.
like to hear from Matt from River Jig and get his thoughts on this. Okay, Matt, the mic is yours. Please take over.
Fat Rat's had a little bit different technique, but just a side note to let everyone know, all of the winch cables on these trucks are nylon. They are not wired rope. I found out why on this truck right here. He's running a traditional sling, and the towed vehicle almost landed on his bed. So he actually stopped here and re-rigged it, very similar to what Rory did. Matt was actually making this look way too easy. That's a big wrecker, big axles, and one of my favorite engines, the 8.1. Derek with the BSF wrecker had to kind of pull over a little bit and do a quick trail repair, but while he was parked there, Matt had to go around his towed vehicle, a little rear steer action there. I cannot believe he got around this without touching that other vehicle.
That's pretty good. Missed the whole thing.
Marlon is putting on a show.
Go up there. Let's go leapfrog.
Trail Mater.
The congregation here at Team Trail.
So this is one of the largest gas engines GM ever produced for use in a pickup. Makes massive amounts of torque, and I think it's a perfect power plant for this application. And so far, I think the results speak for themselves.
You have yet to hit the ground at the same time. Like, here Matt goes. You can easily see Lizzie. Let's see if she gets scared. We have a great look. Nope, she's just smiling.
That's all the video for me today. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it, and I'm sure there's about 1 million hours of video on this event. Thanks again.